10 songs from 1972 that played everywhere. You've heard that riff blasting from car windows, that chorus they couldn't stop spinning on AM radio. You know the years: Ziggy Stardust, American Pie, Lean on Me, the classics everyone still remembers.
Bell would ring, catch me playing with my ding-a-ling.
But here's what nobody tells you about 1972. Between those legends, 10 songs that were just as huge. Number ones, million sellers, songs you couldn't escape. And today, radio silence, streaming obscurity, cultural amnesia.
Please tell them it isn't fair.
Some of these artists never got another shot. Others walked away from the industry entirely. And a few, well, they got erased by the very thing that made them famous. Let's dig into the hits that time forgot. Number 10, Daniel Boone, Beautiful Sunday. Daniel Boone was not Daniel Boone. Real name, Peter Green, then Peter Lee Sterling, then finally Daniel Boone when he signed to Larry Page's label in 1971. British guy, Birmingham. Worked his way up through the club circuit, did session work, wrote jingles, the usual grind. And then he wrote Beautiful Sunday. February 1972. The song drops in the UK, peaks at number 21. Not bad. But in the States, it climbs to number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 6 on the Easy Listening chart, gold record in New Zealand, number 1 in Germany, number 1 in Mexico, number 1 in South Africa, number 1 in Norway. Billboard ranked it one of the biggest international hits of 1972. But here's where it gets strange. In Japan, Beautiful Sunday became the highest selling single by an international artist on the Oricon chart ever. 2 million copies. Outsold the Beatles, outsold Elvis, outsold everyone. Japan loved this song so much that it became a cultural phenomenon. They played it at weddings, at sporting events, on variety shows. It was everywhere. And Daniel Boone became a household name in a country 7,000 miles from Birmingham. Back in the UK and the US, crickets. The song itself is pure bubblegum. 3 chords, simple melody, lyrics about going for a drive on a sunny day. Nothing profound, nothing groundbreaking. Just a nice little tune about feeling good. And that's the problem. 1972 was the year of Ziggy Stardust. The Stones put out Exile on Main Street. Stevie Wonder dropped Superstition. The critics and the tastemakers wanted depth. They wanted edge. They wanted meaning. Beautiful Sunday offered none of that. It was happy, uncomplicated, the kind of song you'd hear in a supermarket and forget 30 seconds later, except in Japan, where they never forgot. Daniel Boone kept touring, kept writing songs, but he never came close to that level of success again. And outside of Japan, the song faded. American radio moved on. British radio moved on. By 1975, nobody was playing it anymore. Today, it's a trivia question. One of those, wait, that was huge, moments when you stumble across the chart history. Dundee United still plays it at their football grounds. A few classic hit stations in Europe might spin it once a year. But for the most part, gone. And that's the thing about songs like this. They're not bad enough to be memorable. They're not good enough to be timeless. They're just nice, pleasant, the kind of record that sells millions and then disappears because nobody ever needed to hear it again. Daniel Boone died in 2023. The obituaries mentioned Beautiful Sunday in passing. Mostly they focused on his songwriting for other artists, the session work, the behind-the-scenes stuff. Because even when you have the biggest selling international single in Japanese chart history, if nobody else remembers it, it's like it never happened. Say that you love me. Number 9, Wayne Newton, Daddy, Don't You Walk So Fast.
I feel about you. Everybody.
Now, if you're only familiar with Wayne Newton as the Vegas showman with Danky Shone, this one's gonna surprise you, because in the summer of 1972, Wayne Newton had the kind of hit that radio couldn't ignore. Daddy, Don't You Walk So Fast peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. It stayed on the chart for 20 weeks. Number 1 in Canada, gold record, the whole package. But here's the thing, it wasn't even his song first.
Little daughter running after me, crying.
Daniel Boone, a British singer, had already released it in Europe a year earlier. Scored a top 20 hit in the UK with it. Wayne's version, almost word for word identical, same arrangement, same emotional arc. Just swap the British accent for Vegas. The song itself is devastatingly simple. Father walking out on his family. A little daughter chasing him down the sidewalk, crying. And that one line, Daddy, Don't You Walk So Fast, stops him cold. He turns around, realizes he can't do this, goes back.
She hear the song that I'm singing? Can't she hear?
On paper, it shouldn't have worked. It's sentimental as hell. Radio DJs at the time called it too depressing. One station in Albuquerque refused to play it on principle. A listener's mother allegedly tried to break the record into pieces when her kid bought it, but the public ate it up. Because beneath all that syrup, a real fear. The early 70s were brutal on marriages. Divorce rates were climbing, custody battles were getting nasty, and every kid listening had that nightmare, watching a parent walk away for good.
I just had to turn back home right there.
Wayne Newton never saw another top 10 hit. This was it. Here's one moment where the mainstream locked in, and then he went back to Vegas. Played 25,000 shows at the Desert Inn, made millions. But that record, that massive summer smash, gone. You won't find it on classic hit stations. The streaming playlists skip right over it. The younger generation knows Wayne Newton as a punchline, not as the guy who made grown men cry on the drive home from work. And here's what gets me. The song still works. You can feel the weight of it, the way the arrangement builds toward that final choice. But radio moved on. The 70s became the 80s, MOR died, and Wayne Newton's biggest hit became a footnote in his own career. That's how it goes sometimes. You get your number 4 smash, your gold record, your moment where everyone knows your name. And 30 years later, it's like it never happened.
To tell my little daughter that her dad.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 8, Chuck Berry, My Ding-a-Ling.
Bitty boy, my grandmother bought me a cute little toy.
Chuck Berry invented rock and roll. Johnny B. Good, roll over Beethoven. Maybelline, the blueprint every guitar player studied, the riffs every garage band learned first, the guy who basically wrote the manual, and his only number 1 hit, a live novelty song about his dick. October 1972, My Ding-a-Ling hits number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, stays there for 2 weeks. Billboard ranked it the 15th biggest song of the year. Gold record, massive international hit, the biggest commercial success of Chuck Berry's entire career, and it's not good. Here's the backstory. February 1972, Coventry, England. Chuck's playing the Lanchester Arts Festival. Pink Floyd's on the bill, Billy Preston, Slade, good lineup. Chuck gets to his set and pulls out this old Dave Bartholomew tune from 1952. calls it a fourth grade ditty, encourages the crowd to sing along, does the whole call and response thing, makes it as suggestive as possible without saying anything explicit. The audience goes wild, they're drunk, they're having fun, and somebody recorded the whole thing. Back in the States, a DJ in Boston starts spinning it. Then it spreads. Radio stations across the country start playing this live recording of Chuck Berry getting a crowd to sing about playing with themselves. And somehow, it becomes his first and only #1 single. The irony is crushing. Johnny B. Good peaked at number 8. Roll Over Beethoven never made the top 40. Maybelline hit number 5, but that was before the Hot 100 even existed. The songs that defined rock and roll, they never got him to the top. But this got him there.
Off in the vestibule, every time that...
And Chuck Berry knew exactly what he was doing. He called it garbage. He knew it was beneath him, but he also knew it made him money. Give the people what they want, he said. And what they wanted in 1972 was a 60-year-old legend getting a crowd to giggle at double entendres. Here's the part that hurts. Chuck Berry died in 2017. Every obituary mentioned Johnny B. Good. Rolling Stone listed him as one of the greatest guitarists ever. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame called him foundational. But his only #1, nobody mentions it. Radio doesn't play it. Classic rock stations pretend it doesn't exist. It's not on the greatest hits compilations. It's not in the documentaries. Because even Chuck Berry's fans want to forget it happened. That's the cruelest kind of erasure. Not when the industry forgets you. But when your own legacy has to bury your biggest hit to protect your reputation.
Once I was climbing the garden wall.
Number 7, Gilbert O'Sullivan, Alone Again, Naturally.
To treat myself and visit a nearby tower.
Gilbert O'Sullivan was Irish, Waterford, moved to England as a kid, started writing songs, got signed to MAM Records in 1970. His manager, Gordon Mills, had also managed Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck. Mills knew how to make stars, and for a minute there, Gilbert O'Sullivan was a star.
In an effort to make clear to everyone it's like when you're shy.
Alone Again, Naturally, dropped in early 1972. It's a devastating song. Opens with a guy standing on a tower, ready to throw himself off, suicidal, alone. The verses spiral through grief, his father dying, his mother dying, relationships falling apart, and the chorus just keeps repeating, Alone Again, Naturally. It's bleak, it's honest. It's the kind of song that should have been too dark for mainstream radio, but it wasn't.
Naturally, it seems to.
The song climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in July 1972. Stayed there for 6 weeks. Billboard ranked it the second biggest song of the year, right behind Roberta Flack's The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, gold record. Over 1 million copies sold. It was everywhere. AM radio, FM radio, easy listening stations, even rock stations played it because it was undeniable. You couldn't ignore a song that raw, that well-crafted, that emotionally honest. And then Gilbert O'Sullivan sued his manager.
Yesterday, I was cheerful, bright and gay, looking for.
Here's where it gets ugly. Gordon Mills had been taking the bulk of O'Sullivan's earnings. Publishing rights, royalties, everything, standard industry exploitation, but taken to an extreme. By the mid-70s, O'Sullivan realized he'd made millions and seen almost none of it. He sued, won, got his publishing back, but the legal battle destroyed his momentum. While he was in court, radio stopped playing him, the follow-up singles flopped, the album stopped selling, and by 1976, he was gone from the charts. Alone Again, Naturally, became a cautionary tale. Not about suicide, about the industry, about how you can have the biggest song of the year and still end up with nothing. And the song itself, it faded. Radio dropped it. Too depressing, they said. Too dark for the nostalgia circuit. Too real. Classic hit stations don't play it. Oldies playlists skip it. Streaming services bury it in deep cuts. Even people who were there in 1972, they remember it being a hit, but they don't remember the song because the song makes you feel something. And radio doesn't want you to feel. Radio wants you to vibe. Gilbert O'Sullivan kept making music, still does. He's in his 70s now, still touring, still writing. But he never came close to that level of success again. And Alone Again, naturally. The song that should have been his legacy, his monument, his proof that pop music can be honest and dark and still connect with millions of people. It's gone. You mention it to someone under 50, they've never heard of it. You mention it to someone who lived through 1972, they go, oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? That's the cruelest disappearing act of all. Not when nobody remembers, but when people sort of remember vaguely, like a dream they can't quite place, because Alone Again, naturally, was number one for 6 weeks. It was the second biggest song of 1972. It sold over 1 million copies. It was impossible to avoid. And today, it's like it never happened. That's how you vanish. Not by failing, not by being forgotten, but by being too honest, too real, too much. Radio doesn't have room for that anymore. Number 6, Donny Osmond, Puppy Love.
Oh, I guess they'll never know.
Donny Osmond was 14 years old when this hit number 3 in the United States. Number 1 in the UK for 5 weeks. Number 1 in Canada. Billboard ranked it the 19th biggest song of 1972. Gold record. Sold over 1 million copies. The kind of hit that should have been a career-defining moment. And for a while it was.
How can I tell them?
But here's the problem. It was originally Paul Anka's song. And Paul Anka wrote it in 1960 for Annette Funicello when he was 18. And she was, well, also young. It peaked at number 2 back then. Lost to Percy Faith's Theme from a Summer Place. 12 years later, Mike Curb decides Donny Osmond should cover it. Same arrangement, same melody, just swap out Paul Anka's voice for a kid who sounds even younger. And the public went crazy. Teenage girls, preteen girls, mothers buying it for their daughter, radio stations spinning it every hour. On March 15th, 1972, a DJ at KHJ in Los Angeles played the song on repeat for 90 minutes straight. Police showed up at the station because listeners thought there'd been a hostage situation. Nope, just Donny Osmond over and over again.
Someone help me, please.
The song itself is pure melodrama. Kid in love, adults telling him he's too young to know what love is. Someone help me please. That line, delivered with maximum teenage anguish, was what sold it. Donny gave it everything, oversold it even. Made it camp before anyone knew what camp was. And here's what nobody talks about. Donny Osmond hated this song.
How can I tell?
By the late 80s, he was trying to be taken seriously as a songwriter, an artist. He'd leave Puppy Love out of his set list. Crowds would boo. He tried doing a heavy metal version once just to get them to stop asking for it. Screamed the lyrics, made it aggressive. After the show, a woman came up to him, told him that song was part of her childhood, that he had no right to mess with her memories. And he realized that now this song doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to everyone who heard it when they were 12. So he started singing it again with respect, because that's what you do when a song becomes bigger than you. But radio moved on decades ago. Puppy Love doesn't fit the classic hits format. Too bubblegum, too teen idol, too embarrassing, if we're being honest. The only time you hear it now is on oldie stations that specialize in novelty acts and one-hit wonders. And that's the cruelest trick of all. A song can sell 1 million copies. Hit number 3. I define an artist's career and still become a punchline. Donny Osmond went on to have a wildly successful career. Broadway, Vegas, TV, he's done fine. But Puppy Love, the song that launched him, it's a relic now. Something people laugh about if they remember it at all. And maybe that's fitting, because the song was always about being dismissed, about adults not taking young love seriously. Turns out they still don't. Number 5, Melanie, the Nickel Song. Melanie was huge in 1972. Not had a hit, huge. Multiple top 40 singles at the same time, huge. Brand New Key was number 1. Ring the Living Bell was climbing. And the Nickel Song hit number 35 while the other 2 were still on the chart. She became the first female artist to have 3 songs in the top 40 simultaneously. Bigger than Janice, bigger than Joni. For about 6 months in 1972, Melanie was everywhere. And then she wasn't. Nickel Song is one of those tracks that sounds exactly like early 70s folk rock. Acoustic guitar, earnest vocals, lyrics about feeling the need to perform, to put on a show, to be seen. And at the end, this is the part people who heard it never forget. Melanie just starts laughing. Not a polite chuckle, a full, unhinged cackle that dissolves into nonsense syllables. It was weird. It was honest. It was the kind of thing that made you stop and go, wait, who is this? And for a minute there, everyone knew. Melanie performed at Woodstock, one of only 3 solo women on the bill. She wrote Lay Down, Candles in the Rain after watching the audience light matches during her set. That song hit number 6 in 1970. She was a legitimate star, but by 1974, she was gone from the charts. Never had another top 40 hit after Bitter Bad in 1973. She kept making music and released albums all the way through 2010, but radio stopped caring.
If I had a nickel for each time that I've been.
And here's why. Melanie was too weird for mainstream pop and too earnest for the cynics. The industry didn't know how to market her after the early 70s folk boom collapsed. She didn't fit the singer-songwriter mold. She didn't fit the rock mold. She was just Melanie, and that stopped being enough. The Nickel Song disappeared first. Radio stations dropped it when her chart momentum stalled. Then the other hits faded. By 1980, even Brand New Key, her number 1 smash, was getting cut from oldies playlists because it sounded too novelty, too cute.
That they're lucky, but it seems like they always will.
The song resurfaced briefly in the 90s when a Boston DJ played it on WBCN and called it a lost classic. A few people remembered, a few more discovered it for the first time, but it never came back. Not really. Melanie died in January 2024 at 76. The obituaries mention Woodstock. They mention Brand New Key. They mention her influence on later singer-songwriters. But the Nickel Song, the track that showcased her playful, unfiltered side, even the one where she just lets loose and laughs at herself, barely a footnote.
Thought that's wrong. And if we had a nickel.
And that's the problem with being ahead of your time, or maybe behind it, or maybe just sideways from it. If the industry can't figure out where you belong, they don't make room for you. They let you have your moment, your 3 simultaneous hits, your gold record, and then they move on. Melanie didn't. She kept writing, kept performing, kept being herself, but the charts, the radio, the culture, they forgot. Number 4, Sammy Davis Jr., the Candyman.
Sprinkle it with dew. Thank you. Cover it with chocolate or a berry.
Sammy Davis Jr. spent decades as one of the biggest entertainers in the world. The Rat Pack, Vegas, Broadway, vaudeville, movies, TV. The guy could do everything. Sing, dance, act, tell jokes. A genuine legend. And his only #1 hit, a song he hated. Recorded in 2 takes, told his manager it was horrible and would go straight into the toilet.
Put it in a dream. Separate the sorrow.
June 1972. The Candyman hits #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, stays there for 3 weeks. Billboard ranked it the 5th biggest song of the year. Gold record. Over 1 million copies sold. Sammy Davis Jr. couldn't escape it. For the rest of his career, audiences demanded it. Vegas crowds, concert halls, TV appearances. Everywhere he went, people wanted to hear the Candyman. And he'd perform it, because that's what professionals do. But he hated every second.
Wrap it in the side.
Here's the story. The song was written for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in 1971. In the movie, it's sung by the candy store owner to a bunch of kids. Aubrey Woods does a perfectly fine job with it. But the songwriters, Leslie Bricusse and Anthony Newley, thought it could be a hit. They just needed the right singer. Enter Mike Curb, record exec. He'd already recorded the instrumental track with the Mike Curb congregation. All Sammy had to do was lay down vocals. Quick session, 2 takes, done. Sammy walked out thinking he'd just recorded the worst thing he'd ever put his name on. Quote, "This record is going straight into the toilet, not just around the rim, but into the bowl. And it may just pull my whole career down with it."
The Candyman can, cause he mixes it.
He was wrong. The song exploded. Kids loved it. Parents loved it. Easy listening stations couldn't get enough of it. And suddenly, Sammy Davis Jr., this towering figure in American entertainment, was best known for a children's song about candy. The irony is suffocating. Sammy had been famous since the 50s. He'd sung with Frank Sinatra, performed for presidents, overcome racism in ways that broke ground for everyone who came after. And his legacy, at least in the pop charts, came down to this: a novelty tune he despised.
Wrap it in the side.
And here's the thing, the song worked, it's catchy, it's well produced, it does exactly what it's supposed to do, but it also trapped him. Now, every time he tried to do something serious, something artistic, people wanted the Candyman. Every time he released a new album, the reviews would mention it. Every time he did an interview, they'd ask about it. He eventually made peace with it. Sort of. He'd joke about it on stage, do little asides. I sang this song for 2 years before I found out what Candyman meant on the corner. Got laughs, kept it light. But underneath, you could tell, this wasn't the song he wanted to be remembered for.
In a dream, separate the sorrow, then collect up all.
And today, nobody remembers it anyway. Radio doesn't play it. Streaming playlists skip it. The younger generation knows Sammy Davis Jr. as a name, maybe, but they don't know the music. And the Candyman, it's a punchline, a trivia answer. The song that gave a legend his only #1 and somehow managed to diminish him in the process. That's the worst kind of success. When the thing that should have been your victory lap becomes the thing you're trying to outlive.
Make the world taste good. Candyman.
#3, Looking Glass. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. Looking Glass was a New Jersey band. 4 guys, Rutgers grads. They'd been gigging around the Jersey Shore for a couple years when Epic Records signed them in 1971. Debut album, standard deal. They recorded a bunch of tracks. Label picked Don't It Make You Feel Good as the first single. It flopped. Should have been over right there. One failed single and you're done. But then a promotion guy named Robert Mandel brought a test pressing to WPGC, a top 40 station in Washington, D.C., told the program director, Harv Moore, to listen to the whole album, especially track 4. Brandy. Moore put it in heavy rotation, just started playing it over and over, no single release, no marketing push, just a song on the radio, and the request line exploded. People calling in and asking for it again, asking where they could buy it.
Town loves a man who's not around.
Epic Rush released it as a single in May 1972. By August, it was number 1. Spent a week at the top. Billboard ranked it the 12th biggest song of the year. Gold record. Over 1 million copies sold. It's a perfect pop song. Sea shanty vibes. Story about a barmaid in a port town who's in love with a sailor, but the sailor loves the sea more than he loves her. His true love was the sea. That line hits every time. Guitarist Elliot Lurie wrote it about a high school girlfriend named Randy. Changed the name to Brandy because it sounded better for a barmaid. The rest of the band recorded it, and they knew this one's special, and it was for about 6 months. Then it was gone. Looking Glass had one more minor hit. Jimmy Loves Marianne peaked at number 33 in 1973. After that, nothing. Lurie left the band in 1974 to go solo. Didn't work out. The rest of the guys broke up a year later. And Brandy, it became a yacht rock staple. Wedding DJs loved it. Karaoke bars kept it in rotation. It showed up in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in 2017, which gave it a brief resurgence. Younger people discovered it, thought it was new. But here's the thing, outside of that one moment, it's invisible. Classic rock stations don't play it. Oldies stations barely touch it. It doesn't fit the narrative of 1972. It's not glam. It's not soul. It's not singer-songwriter. It's just a well-crafted pop song that happened to go number 1 and then disappeared, and that's what makes it so frustrating. This isn't a bad song. It's not dated. It's not embarrassing. It's genuinely good. But good isn't always enough. You need context. You need a story. You need something that makes people care 30 years later. Brandy had the hit. It had the moment. But it didn't have the legacy. Looking Glass didn't have the follow-up. They didn't have the cultural weight to make people remember. So the song drifted, became a nostalgia trigger for people who were there in 1972. Became a movie soundtrack deep cut. Became a, wait, that was number 1? Factoid. And the band, they're gone. Most of them moved on to other careers. Elliot Lurie went into the music business side of things, worked at 20th Century Fox, made a good living.
On a summer's day, bringing gifts.
But Brandy, the song that should have been the beginning, ended up being the whole story. One number 1 hit, one perfect summer song, and then silence. That's how it goes sometimes. You write the hit, you get your moment, and then the industry moves on, and you're left standing there holding a gold record for a song nobody remembers.
The bar's closed down. Brandy walks through a silent.
Number 2, Climax, Precious and Few.
And if I can't find my way back.
Climax was a Los Angeles band, formed in 1970. 5 guys, session musicians mostly. They'd worked on other people's records, done studio gigs, played backup for bigger acts, and then they got signed to Rocky Road Records, a tiny label that was part of Bell Records. Their first single, Precious and Few, dropped in late 1971. Soft rock, acoustic guitar, sweet melody, lyrics about love being rare and worth holding on to. Nothing groundbreaking, just a nice song. It took a while to catch on.
I can't find my way back home.
Radio started picking it up in early 1972. By March, it was climbing the charts. Peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 on the Adult Contemporary chart, gold record. Over 1 million copies sold. Billboard ranked it one of the biggest songs of the year, and then Climax broke up. Not because they failed, not because they fought. They broke up because they'd done what they set out to do. They had their hit, they got paid, and they didn't want to become a one-hit wonder treadmill act, chasing the next single, trying to recapture lightning, so they walked away. Precious and Few kept playing on the radio through 1972 into 1973. Soft rock stations loved it. Easy listening stations loved it. It was the kind of song you'd hear in a dentist's office or a supermarket and think, oh, that's nice. And then it faded. By the mid-70s, it was gone. Radio moved on. The soft rock boom collapsed. Harder sounds took over. And Precious and Few became a relic of a specific moment in pop music that nobody wanted to revisit. Here's what kills me about this one. The song still works. It's not dated. It's not cheesy. It's just a quiet, sincere love song. The kind of thing that should have had staying power, but it didn't, because Climax didn't stick around to fight for it. They didn't tour. They didn't do interviews. They didn't release a follow-up that kept them in the conversation. They just left. And then the industry doesn't forgive that. If you're not willing to play the game moves on without you.
And if I can't hold you in my arms.
Climax reformed briefly in the 80s, tried to capitalize on the nostalgia circuit, did a few shows, but nobody cared. The moment was gone. And Precious and Few, their number 3 smash, their gold record, their one perfect song became a footnote. Today, you won't find it on classic hits playlists. Streaming services don't push it. The younger generation has never heard of it. Times, and even people who were there in 1972, they remember the song maybe, but they don't remember the band, because the band didn't want to be remembered. They wanted to cash out and move on, and they did.
Moments we took in share.
But the song deserved better. It deserved to be more than a trivia question, more than a remember when moment for aging boomers, more than a one-hit wonder that even the artist couldn't be bothered to defend. That's the price of walking away. You get to keep your dignity. You get to avoid the desperation of chasing hits that will never come. You get to leave on your own terms. But the music gets left behind.
It just wouldn't be fair. 'Cause precious.
Number 1, Gilbert O'Sullivan, Alone Again, Naturally.
Climbing to the top, will throw myself.
Gilbert O'Sullivan was Irish, Waterford, moved to England as a kid, started writing songs, got signed to Mam Records in 1970. His manager, Gordon Mills, had also managed Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck. Mills knew how to make stars, and for a minute there, Gilbert O'Sullivan was a star.
It's like when you're shattered, left standing in the lurch.
Alone Again, Naturally, dropped in early 1972. It's a devastating song. Opens with a guy standing on a tower, ready to throw himself off, suicidal, alone. The verses spiral through grief. His father dying, his mother dying, relationships falling apart, and the chorus just keeps repeating, alone again, naturally. It's bleak, it's honest, it's the kind of song that should have been too dark for mainstream radio, but it wasn't.
The God rest his soul, couldn't understand why the only man.
The song climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in July 1972. Stayed there for 6 weeks. Billboard ranked it the second biggest song of the year, right behind Roberta Flack's The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, gold record. Over 1 million copies sold. It was everywhere. M radio, FM radio, easy listening stations, even rock stations played it because it was undeniable. You couldn't ignore a song that raw, that well-crafted, that emotionally honest. And then Gilbert O'Sullivan sued his manager.
Alone again, naturally.
Here's where it gets ugly. Gordon Mills had been taking the bulk of O'Sullivan's earnings, publishing rights, royalties, everything. Standard industry exploitation, but taken to an extreme. By the mid-70s, O'Sullivan realized he'd made millions and seen almost none of it. He sued, won, got his publishing back, but the legal battle destroyed his momentum. While he was in court, radio stopped playing him. The follow-up singles flopped. The album stopped selling, and by 1976, he was gone from the charts.
About to play, but as if to knock me down.
Alone Again naturally became a cautionary tale, not about suicide, about the industry, about how you can have the biggest song of the year and still end up with nothing. And the song itself, it faded. Radio dropped it. Too depressing, they said. Too dark for the nostalgia circuit. Too real. Classic hit stations don't play it. Oldies playlists skip it. Streaming service bury it in deep cuts. Even people who were there in 1972, they remember it being a hit, but they don't remember the song because the song makes you feel something, and radio doesn't want you to feel. Radio wants you to vibe. Gilbert O'Sullivan kept making music, still does. He's in his 70s now, still touring, still writing, but he never came close to that level of success again. And Alone Again, naturally. The song that should have been his legacy, his monument, his proof that pop music can be honest and dark and still connect with millions of people. It's gone. You mention it to someone under 50, they've never heard of it. You mention it to someone who lived through 1972, they go, oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
She had never loved, had been taken, leaving her to stop.
That's the cruelest disappearing act of all. Not when nobody remembers, but when people sort of remember vaguely, like a dream they can't quite place, because Alone Again, naturally, was number one for 6 weeks. It was the second biggest song of 1972. It sold over 1 million copies. It was impossible to avoid. And today, it's like it never happened. That's how you vanish. Not by failing, not by being forgotten, but by being too honest, too real, too much. Radio doesn't have room for that anymore.